G'day, I'm Tim Harcourt and welcome to a special climate innovation episode of the Airport Economist. Australia has been hit by a lot of external shocks recently, such as drought, bushfires and COVID-19. It's been a time of survival and resilience. And now as we recover and rebuild from the ashes, our expertise in climate innovation is shining bright. In this episode, I chat with industry leaders to find out how Australia has developed this green capability and where the commercial potential lies in putting the green in the green and gold. And leading the charge in powering the nation is Tritium. It's been at the forefront of supplying advanced manufacturing products around the world to support renewable energy and electric vehicles. Tritium's CEO, Jane Hunter, joins me now. Hi Jane, is it true Tritium's origins are from solar cars developed at the University of Queensland?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's a really exciting story of development where there was three young engineers and the founders of this company, David Finn, Paul Cernier and James Kennedy. They met there when they were participating in the World Solar Challenge. They were building this vehicle they called the Sunshark, which became a World Solar Vehicle third place winner and also won the technical award at the World Solar Challenge. That technical award was really important because other solar racers became aware that they had this innovative power electronics building block and they started to sell that. And that power electronics block actually became the building block for the Tritium business today.
So how did this all develop towards products from solar to electric vehicles?
They were so passionate about and attracted to electric vehicles and this DC charging that they got into. And it was really a great translation because what you need in solar racing is also what you need in electric vehicle DC charging. Everyone in the company remains driven by that vision today. You know, energy freedom for drivers, but using renewable energy sources and also just having zero emissions. I mean, how fantastic is that going to be as the fleet electrifies to have zero emissions and zero pollution in our cities? Because here in Australia, transportation makes up 15 to 17% of our emissions.
What's your approach to innovation?
Innovation's absolutely essential to this business because it's an advanced technology that's still developing. If we don't innovate, we actually won't stay in business. And one of our competitive advantages is to be at the forefront of that technology, not following or lagging.
How did you go from purely research and development to commercialisation?
The guys knew they had something good and they were shopping around for investors. And then alongside that, some fantastic government innovations, which were all about developing small to medium enterprises and helping startups scale. And Tritium benefited enormously from some of this co-investment. And then as you scale, one of the other really important programs here that Tritium's benefited from and other Australian businesses have is EFIC, which is the Export Finance and Insurance Corporation, which is a federal government initiative. And in that initiative, if you secure a large contract, say 100 chargers, they will actually give you very cheap finance to buy the inventory so that you don't have cash flow issues. We know from research that public-private partnership is one of the best ways to innovate, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One is that the private sector has all of the skills and the resources and the ability to commercialise, but the public sector brings that sense of mission and values. So that's a wonderful pairing and often leads to cracking the atom on difficult technology problems.
As well as solar cars, you've had a brush with Hollywood, with James Cameron and the Deep Sea Challenge. Can you tell us about that?
Our CTO and founder here, Chief Technology Officer James Kennedy, got a call one day because of Tritium's expertise in solar racing, battery management systems and power electronics. James Cameron was out here in Australia. He had this little submarine called the Deep Sea Challenger, which was a small electric submarine. And James had this vision of hitting the bottom of the Mariana Trench in the Deep Sea Challenger, which is the deepest part of the ocean. And when he hit this problem, they called James Kennedy up and said, could you come down to Sydney for a day and just do a bit of consultancy for us? We need you to take a look at our battery management system. And that resulted in a successful challenge being met, and National Geographic's made a movie about it called Deep Sea Challenger 3D.
Can you tell us about your international expansion to the US and Europe?
In Europe, what we're seeing is some countries like Norway now have 50% of vehicles on the road are electrified. So that remains our biggest market with our largest fielded fleet. North America not too far behind, also being driven by certain states like California that are pushing the pickup of electric vehicles with things like purchase price incentives, tax relief and rebates.
Are there any other international ventures on the cards?
At this stage, we don't plan to have a lot more physical footprint. We've been very lucky in that one of our major shareholders is a global corporation with footprints in a lot of countries. So we're co-sharing some of their office space as we put people into other countries.
What's been the biggest obstacle to Tritium's success?
Look, I wouldn't call it an obstacle, but definitely a challenge is that because this is an advanced technology market that's just continuing to develop and get better and better as the chargers get faster, the power efficiency increases, the form factor gets smaller and smaller, the safety features get better and better, we must invest in research and development. And for us as a medium enterprise with around 350 employees, that's a very significant part of our revenue that we have to keep reinvesting. One of the things that's really positive about that is that Australia is a fantastic place to do that. We rate number 2 in the world for university retention rates. We're number 5 in the world for the quality of our universities. So we actually have this really smart workforce here available of lots of different types of engineers, power electronics, communications, electrical, electronics. One of the other things that we've determined recently is to invest in this major test facility next door. And this test facility is going to be a world first. Currently, when we want to test those chargers, we have to send our team to Munich. Now we're going to do that right next door. We'll be able to do rapid prototyping and get our products to market faster. So we've definitely invested in R&D, and we believe we do have an ongoing competitive advantage in keeping ahead of the market.
What's the thing you are most excited about when thinking about the future?
I think the thing we're most excited about upcoming is the vehicle-to-grid technology, which is bi-directional charging. And what that means is when you drive home and plug your car in, you've got this mobile battery source which can either take energy from the grid or give energy back to the grid. So the utilities providers are excited about that. We're excited about that. And I guess finally, just the tipping point, what we all know is the tipping point of technology, which is when there's no going back, there's no point of return. So it's really exciting to see that we're at the tipping point of the electrification of the passenger fleet, and after that buses, and after that heavy vehicles. So it's an exciting industry to be in.
Thanks for joining me on this special climate innovation episode of the Airport Economist. As you've just seen, from clean energy to clean transport and everything in between, there's a lot of fantastic things going on in the climate innovation space, both within Australia and beyond our shores. It's good to see so many exporters prepared to put the green back in the green and gold for the benefit of Australia and the planet. Thanks to all those businesses who shared their stories with us, and we wish them every success for a brighter and cleaner future. And thanks to all of you for your support of the Airport Economist in these unusual times. I hope to see you again somewhere in Australia and eventually somewhere around this great globe in the not too distant future. But for now, I'm Tim Harcourt and I'm the Airport Economist.